Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the show. What's your reaction to President Zuma's address?
Thank you very much, Simpio. Good evening to you and the viewers. Well, we fundamentally believe that it was a missed opportunity for the former president to rise to the occasion of leadership consistent with him being former president of the country, where we are dealing and grappling with a pandemic which is wreaking through the country at an alarming pace, and for him to point-blank refused, for all intents and purposes, to call to order his supporters. As the governing party in Nkandla, we remain fundamentally concerned as the IFP for the health of the people of that area, given the increase and influx of people from all over the country whom are not adhering to the COVID-19 prevention regulations. And we hope that the law enforcement agencies will actually ensure that the situation returns to normality, simply because we're worried about the health of the people of Nkandla, given what is actually going on. We believe that the courts are quite competent to deal with the merits and demerits of the case, and we stand by the pronouncement we made earlier on in the week as the IFP that we hope the former president will comply with the Constitutional Court judgment, of course notwithstanding his rights to actually make the appeal that he has made. We continue to call for calm and peace and restraint as things, play themselves out at this point in time, but we certainly believe that Mr. Zuma could have done better to showcase and demonstrate leadership consistent with the expectations of the times. To now want to politicize to the extent which he has, the lockdown is in itself a cause of action which is reckless and irresponsible and does not take due regard to the prevailing health challenges the country is faced with.
Now, Mkhuleko, when you say that Mr. Zuma missed an opportunity to display leadership, not only to his supporters, but to the entire South Africa, what's your expectation? What is the IFP's expectation on this in this regard?
Well, we are expecting people to conduct themselves in a manner that is peaceful, but at the same time, we are expecting all South Africans to adhere to the COVID-19 prevention protocols. As the figures have been coming out over the past couple of days, it's record high numbers. This is an opportunity for the former president to speak to his supporters, to say, as you support me, but let's not lose lives. Lives are not at risk here because of the impending violence which may play itself out, but also lives may be lost if we do not take COVID-19 seriously. And so what is actually happening now are political theatrics and sideshows which are taking away the national attention from the key priorities that we should be focusing on, which is saving lives and reviving the economy. And what is playing out in Nkandla now, and I repeat again, as the governing party in that part of the country, we remain fundamentally concerned of the consequences for our constituents in that area, because none of those people are observing protocols, nor do we have a track record of where they've been and where they've been going, whether they've been vaccinated or not. There is simply no control. And the strain that this places on a rural community such as that one, where we do know that the national and provincial government have not provided sufficient health care support, and so far as the provision of clinics and hospitals is concerned, is in itself a problem. So in total, all the factors combined put at risk the people, and that is what we find to be irresponsible. So the supporters must not put the lives of the residents of Nkandla at risk.
Now, Mkhuleko, the Constitutional Court, through Justice Sisekampepe, said that there is a real risk and an imminent danger to the Constitutional Court being made a mockery of, and of course the judicial processes in the eyes of the public. So, taking that into cognizance, Mkhuleko Hlengwa, what do you think should be the role of the opposition movement, with you included, to protect the integrity and the sovereignty of the Constitutional Court?
Well, we fundamentally believe that the Constitutional Court is very competent and the judges know exactly what it is that they are doing, because they are conducting themselves within the parameters of the Constitution, and they're not kowtowing to political pressures. And in any case, we do need to at all times uphold the fact that courts are the final arbiters on matters. The former president himself did say that these issues are subject to, interpretation, and 9 of the 11 justices have arrived at a particular determination. And I would want to hasten to remind Mr. Zuma of his own words when he used to mock political parties in parliament, when he said that the majority always prevails, and the same has now actually applied here. Ours is to give full support to the judiciary, but also at the same time to ensure that anybody who wants to exercise their constitutional rights within the judiciary framework, including but not limited to appeals and applications to courts, must do so. What we are expecting is the Constitutional Court to apply itself even-handedly and within the confines of the Constitution, and to make a determination accordingly. At the end of it, what we want is compliance with the injunctions and decisions of the court, because they are playing an important role of checks and balance in actually dealing with matters as and when they arrive. So we've got full confidence in the Constitutional Court, as we do to other courts. And if there are complaints, insofar as the conduct of judges is concerned, then the JSC must be approached. But a public and media demonization of the media without substance and without proof is dangerous and reckless to the constitutional order. And so we feel that if there are any issues that the former president has, specifically or otherwise, he should present those to the JSC.
Mkhuleko Hlengwa, the spokesperson of Nkandla Freedom Party, joining us on the line. Thank you so much for your time. All right, let's now talk to Dennis Bloem, the spokesperson of the Congress of the People, for his party's reaction. Mr. Bloem, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Globe.
Good evening, Supiwe, and good evening to the viewers. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
What is COPE's stance or position in reaction to former President Jacob Zuma's address a short while ago?
Well, we have said many a times, Mr. Likota, when he resigned from the ANC, warned the ANC in Polokwane that don't elect this man as the president of the ANC and of the country. Look what is happening now. He is keeping the whole country to ransom now. This thing is not starting now. 2005, you can remember 2005 when he was accused, when he was charged with rape. The very same thing happened. There was demonstrations all over in front of the court. Now, this is not a new thing. It's a disgrace that a former president must act like this. Total disregard for the rule of law. There is a very serious pandemic going on. He is not worried at all. He is going on. He is addressing people without mask. There is no social distancing. What type of a president was this? He is showing he is not having any regard for all the people. He is disrespecting the country. That is what we have said. That's why we have resigned from the ANC. The ANC must take full responsibility for what is happening today with Jacob Zuma holding the country to ransom. That is their baby, because they have give him all the support. You remember in Parliament 8 motions of no motion of no confidence. The ANC defended him. The ANC voted for him, supported him. He is a disgrace to this country. The whole world is laughing at what is going on. For 2 days now, the television, our television sets, is not showing anything that is educating people. They are showing people how to disrespect a government. This government it's a lame duck now of Jacob Zuma, because the police are looking on when people are breaking the COVID-19 regulations. They are not acting. What type of government do we have? If people are going to do the same, it's going to be chaos. We are saying to the police, the Minister of Police, they must arrest Jacob Zuma and all the people that is there breaking the law. It is totally unacceptable that we are having this type of things in this country. Many people went to prison for a long time, very long years. Many people sacrificed their lives for this freedom. Here comes Jacob Zuma making a mockery of our freedom. It is unacceptable. And the peace-loving people of South Africa will never allow this type of thing going on forever.
So what do you want to see happen? Do you want to see Jacob Zuma behind bars, or do you want to see, the justice system taking its course, or the law taking its course, as we've seen him, or we heard him earlier on saying that he does not want sympathy, he simply wants justice. So do you want to see him behind bars, or his rights being embraced, and especially the right to fair litigation as it takes his matter to the Pietermaritzburg High Court?
They must arrest Jacob Zuma. There is a warrant of arrest. There is already a decision in the Constitutional Court that he must go and sit for 15 months. There is no other way. He is not above the law. Even the Constitutional Court have said so. Jacob Zuma is talking about justice. What other justice? You know, Chief Justice Mkhuleko, ask Jacob Zuma, please tell us, what appropriate sentence do you think we must give you? He showed them the middle finger. Now he's coming to claim that he's a victim. He's always doing that, playing victim. We are saying, as the Congress of the People, Jacob Zuma must be arrested. Jacob Zuma must go and sit for that 15 months. He will get parole or whatever, but we must show that there's a rule of law in this country. There's a law that is governing this country, not a Jacob Zuma or the ANC. The ANC must show that they are the governing party. Now they are a lame duck. I don't understand, why is it that President Cyril Ramaphosa can't give his Minister of Police instructions to arrest those people? They are not above the law. If everybody can do what we see on our television screens, guns are being fired in the open, in daylight, nobody is being arrested. What type of democracy is this? This is not the type of democracy that Nelson Mandela went to sit for 27 years in prison. This is not the democracy that Tsietsi Mashinini was fighting for. This is not the democracy that Steve Biko was brutally tortured and killed in the police cells. Jacob Zuma must go to jail. He must be arrested. We can never allow this type of thing to go on forever.
Dennis Bloem, the spokesperson of the Congress of the People, joining us via Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us.
You are always welcome. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Indeed. We also have on the line DA leader John Steenhuisen. John, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. What's the DA's reaction to the remarks made by Zuma a short while ago? And I'm sure that you're quite disappointed that he's not behind bars at this time.
Well, of course. I mean, we obviously welcomed the judgment of the Constitutional Court, and I think it struck a blow for the equality before the law. What we've seen happening today, however, is quite the opposite. There's an inequality before the law. There are many law-abiding citizens, business owners, workers who've sacrificed a great deal because they've had to abide by the lockdown regulations. But it's very, very clear today that there's one rule for the ANC RET faction and one rule for the rest of South Africa. We obviously respect Mr. Zuma's right to apply for the rescission. We don't think it's going to be successful. I think that Mr. Zuma did today in his press conference what he's been an expert at doing over the last decade, which is portraying himself as the victim when in fact he is the perpetrator of the injustice. I think that tonight we heard him again, trying to equate a constitutional court judgment in a democratic society in terms of a constitution which he held his hand up before the union buildings and swore to uphold, trying to equate that with some illegitimate regime as we had in the apartheid era. I think that this is opportunism at its worst, and I think it's Mr. Zuma doing what he does best, which is playing the victim and trying to garner sympathy when in fact he is the perpetrator of the injustice in South Africa.
And what do you think should be the role of the opposition in ensuring that the integrity of the Constitutional Court and generally the rule of law in South Africa is upheld?
Well, we've already issued a statement today wondering why on earth anybody should abide by the lockdown regulations anymore in South Africa. If you are not allowed to open a restaurant, but you witnessed what you saw today taking place outside in Nkandla, I think you would be rightly angry and bitter. And the president needs to intervene and urgently reestablish whether in fact these lockdown regulations do apply in South Africa. Because if they don't, we must open up our economy and allow businesses to trade and all of those people to be able to earn an income and support their families. Because you cannot have one set of laws being applied and another one for the ANC. And I think that the president needs to urgently address himself to this. He's been very quiet both about the judgment. I think he's in hiding himself now over the judgment, and he's in hiding over what is happening today. No doubt he will come onto television at some stage to tell everyone how shocked he is about it, but he needs to do something about it because the lockdown regulations in South Africa must be applied consistently. You cannot have it being applied to one set of people in South Africa but not to another. And I think that needs to be urgently addressed.
All right, John Steenhuisen, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time. That was DA leader John Steenhuisen joining us live on the line. All right, we still continue with the rolling coverage about the Zuma address that took place in Nkandla just a short while ago. We're getting political and as well as legal analysis on what the implications of the developments that came out of Nkandla mean for the country. This is the Globe on SABC News.